A really warm welcome today with the lovely Zoe Dawes. I'm really keen to interview Zoe today because I've known Zoe a long time, both in a corporate life and now into the spiritual kind of world. So it's great that I've got Zoe on the call this morning and asking a few questions about a business, what direction it's going in. I am so, Zoe's gone from strength to strength in the last couple of years. It's unbelievable. So Zoe's business is the Quirky Coach, and going forward, I just want to ask you just to introduce yourself, Zoe. If that's okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yes,
well, thanks
no worries.
for inviting me.
No, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. So I'm Zoe, the Quirky Coach. I live in Carnforth, and up until my whole world changed, I was mainly coaching and training in South Lakes and North Cumbria, doing just sort of general business coaching for small businesses. My background is basically teacher, trainer, coach. I had a successful coaching business which collapsed in 2009, and I then became a travel blogger, and then I wanted to get back. In fact, it was in my previous existence, wasn't it, that we met?
We did,
when
yes, when I
office.
worked at the clock tower. And
That's right, yeah. You came to my office at Clonthorpe. Anyway, so after I'd been doing the travel blogging for a while, I wanted to get back into coaching. But, the coaching world had changed so much, so many. I mean, when I started out nearly 20 years ago, there weren't any coaches in the area. And people didn't know what it was. You were always getting jokes about being a sort of travel company or going on a bus or something. Yeah. And now every other person seems to be a coach. So it was really difficult to get back in, and my whole focus in life had changed. You know that thing, Deb's all life experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, and well, I'll probably tell you if you want to know, but anyway, as a result of a number of things happening, my love of tarot, which I've had for as long as I've been doing the coaching.
I know,
that kind of came in, and so now I combine my business coaching with tarot and oracle card readings, and I've just recently started teaching tarot and oracle, and I am loving it.
Amazing. Honestly, Zoe, I can see that. You can see that in your face. You look, absolutely so passionate about it. And just wanted to mention to people that you came along to one of my events. I think, would it be 18 months, 2 years ago now? Or something like that at Kendal.
It was one of the first Kendal one that you did. So
and you came over to me and said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm organising it." And you went, "Oh, really? Are you into this?" And I said, "Yes." And so, then I mentioned to you about, go get out, open the door, because it's the thing with this type of thing is, Zoe, it's that breaking down those barriers, isn't it, sometimes with what people perceive it to be.
I'd had when I was trying to get back into coaching, I basically was trying to go backwards into that more traditional business, formal leadership coaching, and it wasn't working, Debs. And I mean, literally, I lost all the money I didn't make much money at all as a travel blogger, and so I started off with not much money, and I mean, I nearly lost the house. There was one day, and this is when I was trying to get back into coaching, so this would be before I went to your event. There was one day, and I'd got debt. I was really financially strapped, and I've never been very good with money anyway, but it was getting worse. Everything I was trying wasn't working. And I can remember going into Kendal to meet somebody, and I was maxed out on my debit cards, and I had just enough money, just enough cash for a cup of coffee, and that was it. And that was probably one of the lowest points. And a dear friend of mine, Liz, she, for my birthday, paid for me to have a psychic reading with a lady called Karen Seegers in Ulverston. And that was the turning point, because that was just amazing. And, you know, she did it with the keys, and she picked up messages, and I wasn't into this at all, Debs. I'm not really, and as you know, I'm not a medium. I'm a clairsentient, a claircognizant, and I didn't even know that word 3 years ago, although I'd done the readings for many years. But the deal was, she said, coming in from Spirit, was that I had a gift. I was psychic, even though I was denying. I didn't really know what psychic meant. And that I had to use this gift to help people, particularly in the business community. And I'm just thinking, no way, you know, that can't be. And then she said, oh, and I'm saying, yes, but I don't, you know, to start that off, there's not really a market, and people will think I'm weird. They already know I'm a bit weird, never mind, you know, hence the quirky bit. And she said, no, you've got to, and I said, I'm not going to make any money, and I need money, you know, it wasn't. And she said, well, the deal is, if you pursue that, you can. If you pursue the gift you've got, you will almost like be able to do a bit of the business. And I ignored it, Debs. And it was actually 3 or 4 months later, going to your event. I was on my own on a Sunday, feeling miserable. It popped up, you know, in my Facebook stream. And we hadn't really connected, had we? I mean, I'd not seen you for 10 years.
No, you hadn't.
And going to that event and seeing you there, and then that fabulous atmosphere at Castle Green, I thought, oh, I love this. And that was what started me pursuing my cards a bit more, until eventually I came out as a tarot reader in a business network, and basically haven't looked back.
Fantastic. Amazing. Honestly, it's just, you know, unbelievable. What actually initially got you into the tarot? What, you know, obviously I know you said you went for, but, you know, when did you start reading the tarot and things?
So I think, well, like most of us, probably when I was younger, I'd had a couple of tarot readings. I do remember one in my 20s. A friend had done a reading for me, you know. So again, it's one of those friends that does them and they've read the book, but that's it, sort of thing. And I remember the Tower card came up and she went, oh my God, you know, and that was like, oh, blimey, you know, you don't want to hear that. And it put me off. And so I didn't really even get into it. I was always into, there was other stuff, I guess now I can look and see that, you know, I was very, very intuitive. There's other stuff going on. But it was actually when I was doing my coach training in Ireland. And there was a girl, now she did call herself a gypsy. She was one of the traveller people in Ireland. She was doing the course. I helped her out with something and she said, I'd like to speak to you, and it's personal, you know. And so we went into this room, and then she told me that she was the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter.
And I'll shiver here.
She was incredible. She was only on the course. She wanted to be a coach, but she could barely read or write. And the people who organised the course, Phil and Colin, who were wonderful, there were 60 of us in Ireland doing this coach training course maybe 20 years ago. They said, okay, you can do the course, and you know, when we come to the exams, you can record your answers. You didn't have to write them.
Right.
And so she said to me, when she had seen me come in, and bearing in mind there were 60 of us, that I had this aura around me of a healer. Debs, I had no idea what she was talking about. I didn't know what an aura was. A healer. I said, I'm a coach, a trainer.
Yeah.
She said, no. And then she did this prediction. And then she said to me, you must try to develop this gift that you have. And why don't you try the tarot? And I had a friend, you know, the Irish, lovely, and they sort of embrace absolutely everything.
They
and
are.
Of course, we talked about intuition and that, which 20 years ago, you weren't talking about in a business context that much. And I started the cards then. But the thing was, Debs, until I had that epiphany, that reading, as you know, I did read them, but mainly I got the client to read them. So I used them more as a kind of psychological tool.
Yeah. So what type of people are you working with at the moment? What is your target market?
Small business
ideally?
owners, yeah. All my clients at the moment are business people, and in one way. And when I say business, I just sort of mean that as opposed to perhaps a lot of tarot readers will get people coming to them who they work, have their own business even, but they're coming as private clients in that context. Most of my clients are actually coming for readings connected to their business,
Yeah.
or connected to themselves as the owner of their business. And so small business owners, I am hoping to bring this into sort of the intuitive leadership side into slightly bigger businesses. I don't want to work corporate.
No.
But I mean, a lot of my clients have holistic type businesses, but quite a few don't. I've got accountants, solicitors. I love it when somebody from that world comes in, because you don't expect them to, do you?
But look how big it is in America, isn't it? You know, they're huge into this, and with businesses, and even actually Australia are the same, because I lived out there and know that they are.
Yeah.
But the UK is starting, thankfully, to waken up.
Yes.
And realise, you know, a lot of big names go for readings, and Princess Diana, for example, she lived by having readings, and you know, and I think more and more people are being drawn to doing this without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, you were one, you know, because you did say to me, why don't you do a reading in at one of your events? And you remember I was horrified, because the idea of sitting at a table, because bear in mind that, you know, I've been trained as a coach, everything's confidential, you're in the, you know, you have to make sure your space is private. And I already knew, because I've been doing tarot for years, that people open up, as you know, hugely. They might have come with one question. It's like going to the doctors or something, isn't it? You go in with a bad toe and eventually admit that actually you've got this, you know, this really, really painful thing in your head or something. They open up. And anyway, so you said, well, just do a talk. So I did that talk, which
You
I
did,
did.
on demystifying the tarot, which went down really well.
It did. And what happened after that was, I think that was at Shaw's Hill in Garstang. Was it Garstang? Garstang Hotel?
Oh, the Garstang Country House Hotel and Golf Club.
Yeah. And after it, this guy came up to me with his wife and said, could we have a reading? And, you know, I didn't have a table, did I? And I read in the lobby of the hotel. I mean, that was really public.
Brilliant.
What I realised, somehow or other, a kind of bubble surrounds you, doesn't it?
It does.
And so then I realised you could do this, but it was the demystifying the tarot bit, and that's what I'm passionate about. Because basically, on a very simple level, you can use tarot cards simply as a way of tapping into your own intuition and just getting some very simple messages.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, you know, it's not scary, it's not spooky, it's not, you don't need to use the word psychic, or, you know, it's not fortune telling for sure. I'm not a clairvoyant, I don't see the future.
Yeah.
And I think for me, as a sort of passionate ambassador to get the word out there, it's about teaching people that it's nothing to be scared of, but it can enhance your working and personal life.
Absolutely. And look where, definitely from the COVID lockdown, where it has taken you.
Yes.
In terms of, and just to clarify as well, while we're on this call, Zoe's been doing my coaching, haven't you, for about 18 months, 2 years now nearly, and I can highly recommend Zoe. And she's, you know, I've had quite a few ups and downs with my business, and but no, I'm grateful for, you know, I think we have to go through these trials and tribulations because it takes us to where we're meant to be.
Exactly.
You know, because how can we grow if we don't go through the bad times?
Oh, you're
with anything.
So right, aren't you, Debs? And you think of everything that you went through as you were, you know, taking those events, and your journey of going from that sort of more corporate-y business kind of woman, and then to go to setting up Roots of Life, all the charity work and fundraising, but then to shift it into the magazine and all of that. And then, you know, again, what I love about you is, you know, every time you get hit, you just bounce back better. That's the best bit, you know.
But you have to.
Well, you do, but some people, you know, it's more, some don't always.
Well,
And
I think there's just an inner sometimes strength, which
yeah,
I had to, you know, that's I think that's and roots of life certainly, and the lovely people that I meet.
yeah,
That keeps, you know, I love it. I'm
yeah,
so passionate about it. Just to ask as well, you know, you're on a wonderful journey now, and you're doing a lot of stuff online.
yeah,
So, and I've heard from a lot of people that you're running tarot courses, and you're starting some oracle courses, aren't you? Just
yeah.
tell us a little bit about what you know, what you're up to that way, and what
Okay.
people can do.
So one of the things that's come out of lockdown, at the beginning of the year, I had decided that I did want to work sort of further afield, but I had thought that of that physically. So spreading, you know, spreading the coaching with the cards and that, and maybe doing a bit more of the readings. Lockdown came along, and of course the great thing was once we got introduced to Zoom, and you know who knew about Zoom
Boom. Wow.
4 months
Been
ago.
amazing.
And then to find the that I could do my coaching via this, but more importantly that I could do the readings, that worked.
Yes.
So that was the big breakthrough, that I could have my clients, and I realized that it wasn't about the connection through the camera, it was about the connection coming from spirit through to me for the reading. Sorry, my phone's going off there. I won't.
It's okay. Don't worry, that's fine.
Just leave it to ring. So once I discovered that, and I thought, well, I've been a trainer for all my life, really, teaching and training, nearly 40 years.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'm teaching people one-to-one with tarot. I've been doing the groups. So why don't I try a tarot course?
Fantastic.
And what was amazing, Deb, so a beginner's course, I took the talk I gave, you know, I give the demystifying the tarot as the basis, and then a course that I did as a half day, and built it out to give people an introduction to the cards, and I put it out on the Facebook groups and everything, and it got booked up within a week. And I have never, ever, ever, ever had a course that's booked that quickly.
So
and I then had to book a second one at the weekend because some people couldn't do weekdays. And so in total in the two groups, because I'd said I'd have a maximum of 12.
yeah.
I think I got 20 in the two groups. The feedback has just been amazing. I have loved it more than I have loved any other training I've ever done. And that's saying quite a lot.
Absolutely.
Now, you know, I've got an intermediate course start. I've got another beginner's course starting in September.
What date is that, Zoe? Do you have a date for that yet?
I think I can't quite remember. It's the second. The intermediate one starts the 17th of the 17th of September, and that one is almost fully booked already.
So is that people that are on your existing course who are booking onto this?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm running another one. So that one is at on a Thursday at 10. But I'm going to run another one in another intermediate level out on an evening, an early evening.
Yeah, that'd work.
Yeah.
Because as we come more out of this, I think times have got to fit a bit more around, haven't they, work life.
And also I think with the international audience, and as you know, I mean, I love, you know, travel and everything. And
absolutely.
The fact that sort of Amber from Your Roots of Life group, she's booked on to
Brilliant.
do the Oracle course in next month in July, and she's going to set the alarm for 3 o'clock in Chicago to do it. So I thought, well, the evening one will fit with America as well.
Yeah.
So and I'm just, and also at the end of last week when we finished both the beginner tarot, people were saying they didn't want to leave, and so we're looking now at actually doing a weekend retreat.
Oh, lovely.
And it would be a kind of tarot and oracle, get your intuition mojo going weekend. I can have guest speakers. We'll find a beautiful venue.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's lots of things.
That's amazing, isn't it? So is that going to be kind of in Cumbria, or you're not quite sure yet?
I think it might be a little bit further south. I mean, I definitely think I want Lancashire. I think there's
Yeah.
so much happening in Cumbria. And as you know, I mean, I work with Roots of Life and another retreat, you know, I do retreats with them there. But I am quite passionate about getting Lancashire a bit more on the map. It seems to fall, you know, a bit between Yorkshire and Cumbria and other places.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'm just going to, well, in fact, I've already been talking to a couple of people about that, but it's, given that it only happened, they only suggested it last week.
Well,
I don't know.
look, I mean, this could even be taken abroad, Zoe. You could even do retreats abroad.
Absolutely, Debs. I mean, before lockdown, I had been talking to people about, you know, certainly, I mean, I went on holiday to Greece last year and I was doing tarot readings out there. I have a friend who has a place on a Greek island who said, why don't we do something?
Yes.
In the past, I offered myself, I have done a couple abroad, but somebody else had organised it and I was part of their group. I want to do some Quirky Coach retreats with all the work I'm doing now and bring in other speakers, I think. But yeah, definitely abroad.
Oh, fantastic.
Will you come, Debs? Will you come?
Oh, yes, I'd definitely come on it. Exciting times. Yeah, I'd be definitely into it. Yeah, I'd be very much up for a retreat without a doubt. And I think given what we've all experienced, and we are going through, as I feel, a sort of an awakening, aren't we, of everybody's starting to waken up about, you know, what life is actually about, not at that 100 miles an hour race. And I think setting time for yourself a bit more, you know, and
that spiritual side, isn't it?
Yes.
I think, you know, I think back to 20 years. I mean, I did research into inspiring leadership, and the word inspiring, I mean, before, you know, I've been in corporate for many years. You didn't use the word inspiring in business. You know, it was all strategic. It was all, you know, the 90s and 2000s. And then slowly that sort of came in. And then, you know, mindfulness 10 years ago, well-being. And I think it's this mind, body, spirit thing. We've got, you know, business was so much about here and about, you know, that. Then we recognized that the mind and the body were connected.
Yes.
So that's developed. And now I think that intuitive spiritual side. And that's why, in fact, I was debating, because I've taken the concept of inspiring leadership, which I used to do a lot of courses on. And now I was debating whether or not to call it spiritual leadership or intuitive. And I asked a number of people, and I'm going for intuitive because I want to get into businesses. I want to help them be more spiritual. But I think at this minute, I don't want the word itself to be a barrier.
I get that. I get that, because I had a bit of a, as you know, I was calling it mind, body, spirit events, but then I thought perhaps mind, body, soul sounds better and softer. And people with more religious, they take it sometimes. They can take it the wrong way. So yeah, I think intuitive sounds a lot better, without a doubt.
I find with what I do, you know, on a very simple level, I've got highly enhanced intuition like you. On another level, if you take it to what they'd call psychic, yes, now things are happening that I know, you know, seems a bit more than intuition. But everybody's got that intuitive side.
Absolutely. We're all born with it. It's just tapping into it.
Yeah.
Isn't it, at the end of the day? Now, just before we kind of wrap up, Zoe, what are your more, you know, where do you see yourself going with this? Say we're 5 years from now, we're in 2020, so say we're in June 2025. Where would you like to see Zoe Dawes and the Quirky Coach? In an ideal world.
Yeah, okay, Debs. Well, I'm just thinking and doing the maths, so I don't need to do
putting you on the spot there.
That's okay. And I'm going to come out here and say it. So I will be 70 then, and I know I will still be working. I am very much looking forward to that, because what I do now is I've aligned everything, Debs. It's all, the whole mind, body, spirit thing is connected. How I would see myself, because one of the things that got taught in lockdown was that balance of the day. So I now basically work as much work as I can do, 10, because I like a lion, 10 till 2, afternoons free, you know, to do my own stuff or maybe some readings and things, and then maybe a little bit in the early for people that can't work. But I don't work Friday, Saturday, Sunday if I can help it. And so I would like to keep that going, you know, sort of 4 half days, but actually doing more retreats. Still some teaching, still some readings and coaching, but not too much. But ideally, going around the world and giving talks to people on using your intuition to be the best you that you can, find your life purpose, whether, you know, that is becoming a wonderful baker or a, you know, flying to the moon. That's what
Maybe the next Tony Robbins, Zoe.
Oh God, no. And if anybody, I mean, really, seriously, no. I know it's wonderful, but it's not. But also, I would like to be sharing my time with a lovely man, and that my son has married to, or not married, I don't care about whether he's married, but maybe my son has also perhaps got, I'd like to be a grandmother as well.
Oh, lovely. Yes, that'd be put the icing on the cake, Zoe. So just to say a huge thank you for doing this interview today. Is there any, how can people get in touch with you? Do you want to give out your website?
Yeah, so my website's zoedawes.com, and you can find me on Facebook, The Quirky Coach. I also have a Facebook group called Phoenix Rising, which is sort of bringing together people who are healing and helping and want to find out more about helping others. And Twitter and Instagram, The Quirky Coach. But yeah, all the details on my website is probably the best.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to say today? Is there anything that we haven't covered that perhaps you want to
I just want to say thank you, Debs. You know, you are such a star. You know, and I think what's wonderful is, you know, having worked with you these last few years, the work that you were doing then, but somehow now it's gone to another level. And I think, you know, you are a catalyst for us all, bringing us all together. So just a really big thank you to you.
Oh, well, that's really kind of you, but I love that, Zoe. I just love bringing like-minded people. It's that, again, like you say, your passion's that. My passion's the other, you know, connecting people as much as possible, and to know about this amazing work that we're all doing, you know, and that's what we're here to, you know, I feel that my soul journey is that, and you probably feel your soul journey is doing what you're doing. And it's about enjoying what we do. At the end of the day, life is too short not to, isn't it?
That's very true. And if we can help others to find what they really want to do, or bring them together to do that, how great is that?
And it, you know, you've got to feel happy within your everything, don't you, at the end of the day? So thank you, Zoe. I really appreciate this morning, and I'll hopefully see you soon.
Yes,
take care. Thank you.